Good morning and welcome to Options Tender. It is Thursday, June 20th, 2024. Welcome everybody. If you're new here, go down to that bottom right hand corner, hit that Options Tender logo and subscribe. We're doing this intraday just before noon. If you want to get these videos intraday, go ahead and support the channel. 99 cents. All right. Otherwise, you'll get it at 4 p.m. Let's go through SPY on the multiple time frames. We'll go from the monthly all the way down to 65. Check out the VIX. And I have a lot of time and price talk to kind of show you a projection of making a high here or making one more high into 560. Not much different than what I've been talking about for months and months. But the pathway, we have to adjust it accordingly as we check out different scenarios. Okay, so we're short the market right now. If you want to just zoom through, put your speed, your video speed at 1.5 to get all this information quick. All right, SPY in the monthly time frame. We have 2000 top, 2021 going into 22 top, possible top right here. Yeah, can we go a little bit higher? Yes, we do have a scenario for that. Now, digging in a little bit closer on the monthly time frame, I do suspect we get a wick here. Now, if price wants to retreat correct for a month or two, whatever the case might be, we have the 8 EMA right here so far about the 500 area. So keep the 500 area in mind. This is a consolidation area, very similar to here. So we might as well keep that. So each video we'll talk about, can we get through that consolidation area? We have an uptrend here on the monthly time frame. So everything is peachy. There is negative divergence. So we are working with caution. We're playing the downside from a reversal area, but we'll keep that bullish kind of lean in the back of our mind while price retreats, if it does, right? That's the risk of trading. Going to the weekly. Again, we're not showing indicators because it's the same thing over and over. Negative divergence. We haven't burnt through those divergences or anything like that. So, and I think it's very interesting when we get on the daily, when I show you the 2 points of view, it's going to be very interesting. Just stick around. So, okay. So right here on the weekly time frame, this is the 2000 trend. I do think we possibly tomorrow, this is a big thing for me to say, but possibly we get a wick on that tomorrow. This is options expiration or triple witching or quadruple witching, whichever you want to call it. And typically price doesn't just kind of lackadaisically just move to the upside. You get big swings on those type of expirations. So look out for a big down day tomorrow. So far, we're right back into resistance. Top. This is a crucial area. Okay, so checking out the, where's the 500? 500 is down here for the monthly time frame. So that's all the way past the 20-week moving average. I just don't see that really happening. Possible, but in order to get a new high, I'm just not sure that price is going to get all the way back down here. It could, so we'll keep that in mind. Keep an open mind always. But we have the 8 EMA. We have the 20, which would be a good support somewhere around that 520 area, just below 520 where this price action wicked here. So again, now we're going to mark 520, 500. We have those in mind. And the top of this previous move is about 525, but we'll dig in a little bit closer, see what price may or may not do. But we're looking for a top right now. Is it just a minor before going to the 560? 560 would be all the way up here again on that wedge. So 560. And and then we're gonna start talking about time. So, and notice I'm pointing my arrow right about 7:29. That's going to be the FOMC. So whether price is down low or price is up high, then that will create a trade for us. So going into FOMC, the next one. So perhaps we trend. We already had FOMC a few days ago. So maybe that's marking a top, and we trend into the next FOMC to the downside. Maybe we get a bottom, and then we'll go from there. So how is that going to look then? Let's move to the daily. Well, before we move to the daily, let's look at that from the Fibonacci board, Elliott wave board. So here's what we did. Here's our correction, and now we have targets. So from this correction, from top to bottom, we have our extensions. We have the 127.2 came there, got above, oscillated around, held above now, and are moving to the next target. So do we get that target after a correction? That's what I think. Or do we just keep grinding through? Both possibilities. I think we get a correction first. Could this be the high here? Yes, it doesn't have to make it to the 162 extension, but that's around 560 if we get there. Now we have time relationships on the weekly time frame right around 7:21, and then later at 7:29. So 21, 23, 29. So there's two basic spots here that we'll be looking for, and just the 29 happens to be right before FOMC, so that's probably a pretty important area. So we'll see where price is going into that. So this arrow could represent price, or price going into time. Now I don't know where that's going to be. I don't know if we're going to form some sort of head and shoulder, left shoulder, head, build a neckline. It could be, neckline doesn't have to be horizontal. It can be on an angle, and then perhaps a lower high. That's a possibility. But the important part is, since we're trading to the downside, how long are we going to go down? Right directly into FOMC and trend down here? That's possible. Okay, but we're looking to the downside right now. Again, we have the 20 simple moving average, and that's moving up. So are we just testing the 20 again? And maybe we have just a few weeks to the downside. And it's not a straight line, you guys, so that can take time, to get down there. So let's go to the daily, see if we can work out a little bit better of a path here. Now, traditional technical analysis, all we're doing is we're filling out a bearish rising wedge. We're at the top of that wedge. Even though we're overthrowing the 2000 top here, I can actually raise that just a little bit because we want it right on the wick there. That's our top coinciding with this top. So we didn't know. We thought we could have reversed off here, but we went higher. We went higher to this top here, and even could be overthrowing that a little bit, but we're real close to the top there. So overthrowing just a little bit and possibly getting a reversal. So the 20 simple moving average would be a touchback area about the 530. But what about the trend? All right, you have the trend line that if we hold this could be over time, could be about the 530. Not quite to those spots we were talking about yet, huh? Okay, so what if we break this trend line? Okay, you hold the trend. Let's make this very simple. Hold the trend line, you're bullish. And then possibly we grind to that 560 area and fill out this wedge more. That's one scenario. So you have to hold the trend line. I do think we test the trend line. That that I think is a high probability. All that would do is bring us to these former highs. So that's a good zone where we could easily trade. Great tradable zone. We're getting a possible reversal. Trade it pretty heavily into here. Of course, start hedging your position into an uptrend line. Perhaps we get a bounce from here and then head lower, depending on the time frame. So if we're talking about 731, let's look on the slower time frame what we could do. Let's check out the Elliott for this ending diagonal here. Okay, so one possible, we can get rid of this arrow that already happened. So what we're looking for is a possible another target up here, or this being the top here. So what could possibly be happening is we get our top here. We have this 621 time relationship that's going into tomorrow. With that, we could have our reversal, and then we could start to move down to some of these other time relationships. You see, this is where, and forgive me for pausing here, but this is where we start getting those weekly relationships again, the 21st, all the way to the 30th here. So something's going to happen in this zone. A couple things with top or bottom happening in 731, but we have to see what price does. If it holds the wedge, we're bullish. Now, if it breaks down from the wedge in a three wave move, and like I said, we don't know where that could be. Maybe we retest the 200-day moving average. Wherever we are at the time, and that's why we do these videos so often, you guys. I'm working out these pathways because we don't know if the weekly divergences, monthly divergences are playing out now, and then we get another divergence to hit our target. So that's what we're doing now. If we break down from the wedge, I'll be looking for one of two things. I'll look for a breakdown of the wedge, a significant breakdown, and we'll look for different supports and such as we go down. And then a back test. That back test could actually bring us much higher. Okay, so if we have this this wedge, clearly price is going up as time goes by. So we could break down, find support somewhere, and get one more high into 560. Now 560, going back to this other board, this could be the bearish scenario, the more bearish. Either way, our trades are more probable when both bulls and bears are looking the same direction. And that's what I think is happening now. And maybe we get a bounce and then lower. That could first backtest the wedge there, or it could actually bounce before breaking the wedge. Okay, so if it breaks, it could look like this. Now, if the alternate, another situation is we break down from the wedge, and that could be lower too. But we break down, hold support, and go up to that 560 zone. Now, I was using this this board primarily throughout this most of this move as an expanding ending as an expanding ending diagonal. So this is a pretty amazing situation. And you could, I could change this. This looks like one move, right? That could be simply an A going to B and C, but this really looks like an X, Y, W, X, Y. All right, that's what that kind of looks like right here, where we're getting a zigzag. It looks very complex. That's the whole point of my story. But this expanding wedge is working out perfect. However you count it, however, you're going to get 20 different Elliott wave counts from different people. But the fact is, this wedge is working out perfectly. And at some point or another, we're going to test the bottom of this wedge. All right, so this is a blow off top. This is what we described a long time ago. If you've been following this channel, this has been just real clean. And so what this could do is simply play out all together. We'll look for a reversal and back into the target up here. So, I mean, real probable. I'm just about 50-50 on these scenarios. It looks like price wants us. It looks like the small caps still have to catch up. There's so many small cap names that that are set up to move, and I think those all have to catch up. And I think that might happen in this move up here. That's what that is signaling to us, is that there's one last move, and perhaps that move just goes into FOMC. So it's all about time and price. So if this time and price, look at that. If we hit that wedge, the top of that wedge, and I didn't work this out, I'm just now noticing this. If we hit the top of the wedge again, right into target, that's right at FOMC. Okay, so you know that it could be a day or two, within this, but wow. So, if we get a deep retracement going into tomorrow and the next few days, and I'll show you where we might have a local bottom on the 65, and then we have just this zoom up here to, maybe it looks something like that. That's crazy. That's time and price right there. If and when. If price is up here during FOMC, that looks like the perfect spot there. Okay, enough jibber jabbering. Let's go down to the 65. On the 65 minute, we're again filling out the wedge. We're at the top of the wedge, overthrowing it just a little bit. We're looking for the reversal. Now we have a time relationship of June 26th. So I think our first target, whether we break down from the wedge or not, I think a real high probability trade is to go into the bottom of the wedge around 5:30. And we'll take our trade off of there into 6/26, which is next Wednesday. All right, so a few trading days, pretty massive move. Most of that move might be into tomorrow. I don't know. But if price is down here on the 26th, next Wednesday, and price is hitting this low, I'll be looking for minimum a bounce. Now, on this lower time frame, now we can kind of decipher what we think is going to happen. Get down to the low here, we either bounce, get back into resistances, and break down over time, right? And over time could be that 731 FOMC out here. We could be in a bearish trend until then. All right, then I'm not sure that will actually go to new highs. At some point, we want to back test this wedge. So we'll just keep that in mind. I'm just looking at scenarios. We hold the wedge, and maybe we just grind. Maybe we just grind from here slowly with, perhaps we get bearish on the tech market, but IWM, the small caps, are just rocketing and making us grind day by day up here to FOMC targets up here, 560 into FOMC there. All right, so we hold the wedge. We're going to be bullish until the wedge breaks. The wedge breaks. Now we have to be, very, very cautious and bearish until a certain point. We'll look for another low, and that could be into another price relationship. I don't want to get too far ahead. This is our trade. Our trade is a short into here. We hold the wedge, and I continue to look for longs, continue to look for upside positions. All right. And then we'll have a little bit of put protection at this point. But right now we're heavily to the downside in puts and shorts with a few call hedges at this point because we're at solid resistance. All right. This is the point of the video. This trade here, and then we'll see what happens. We'll look for calls all during this. Okay, so what does that look like on the Elliott wave board? Well, it just so happens that we go into a time price relationship in the 621 along with the daily time frame here as well. So I don't know if we grind out another high here or gap up tomorrow, but we're looking for a high into tomorrow. Could be today, could be tomorrow. That's the time frame. And then digging deeper, we are looking for sorry about that. Digging deeper, as we get this reversal, look at this cluster here. That's next Wednesday. We have our 382 retracement. We have a 23.6 retracement. So this 530 is looking really good. It coincides with the bottom of the wedge. And that's probably going to be pretty much where the 200 moving average is too. So we're looking for a good low here in the 626. What happens after that is we'll probably get a bounce at minimum, or we just keep grinding. So I'll have to work that out with you as time goes by, because we'll have some time relationships that we can use with this top now. All right, so that will create more of a cluster somewhere. And here's we have different clusters that represent our main ones won't be out until daily, the daily time frame around 22. So those would be bounce or retreat areas and stuff like that. But this is a super important part, is that we're getting our high here, and then I think we have a low here on the 65 minute. All right, let's take a look at the VIX, and we'll just do a little bit of homework on the Bitcoin as well. Looking at the VIX, we're trying to get through this 13 area. We start breaking out from this channel, and that's signifying that we're going to have an important top in already. Going into tomorrow, maybe the VIX starts breaking out and looks to backtest, making a higher low, and that could represent the market trying to go to a new high. Or there's a lot of scenarios. If we want to have a deep retracement, maybe the VIX continues higher than that. But as it retreats, maybe we go to new all-time highs again as we backtest this channel here. We'll have to see what kind of spike we get. But if we hit a certain high, then we can see that will probably be the bottom type area. Okay. Not going to drag this on anymore. I think you get the point of what I'm looking at. And Bitcoin could be a real representation of what the market is going to do. Going into, let's look at the daily time frame. Trend is our friend. We mentioned this in the last video. This is a flag pattern or inverse head and shoulder. We're making the right shoulder right now, but we're back testing that flag. And if we start making new highs in Bitcoin, that could just be a representation that price action still has some upside on the market, because there's some risk, appetite still out there, and that some of those small caps will be looking to play into this. But we're right at support. All we did on the 65, you can see it better of what we did. And this wedge broke out, and we broke down from a trend line there. And now we have this bullish falling wedge into support. And then if you look closer, we're just back testing that wedge. So look like a breakout here, back test, and we should resume this move. If we start breaking down from support, then that's a different story. Then I think we have lower to go, but there is one more setup after that to the long side. All right, and so that could really represent IWM. I know I'm kind of going on, but the setup is here. This is a bull flag type pattern or inverse head and shoulder, very similar to Bitcoin. So if we're looking on the daily time frame, then you can see that this is holding up pretty well here. You do have a trend line that that would have to overcome, but the setup is there, and then some of those targets would be a little bit higher up here, around 5, looks like about 220, could be a little bit higher. It just depends. If we start to get a massive move in the small caps to help the market, then this is where they will probably end up, around 230. So it's taking its time. It's really consolidating. But if they start to get a foothold and start becoming the leader over tech, maybe our next move to the downside, and we start to get support, we'll have to see this represent that sort of move if we want to get long the small caps. But it'll be a great hedge for us. I think in the future. We've used it multiple times now, and I'm just rambling. So let's end this video. Thanks for joining us here at Options Tender. We'll talk to you in the next video.